two parents, and then my brothers and sisters and I are all very, very unique, individual, different people, right? Asexual reproduction happens when there's one parent, and that one parent splits in two somehow, and they have identical offspring. So what's the advantage of reproducing sexually? Variation and diversity, right? Now, reproducing sexually does take energy, and it takes time to find a mate, right? So those are disadvantages of sexual reproduction, but those are the advantages for asexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, you don't have to take that time to find a mate, right? So less time, less energy on that. Hello, Nathan and Emily. How are you? Welcome, 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 my friends. So very good to see you. Okay, so thank you, my friends. And with that, as always, please never ever share any personal information. Always keep your behavior, language, and webcam background school appropriate and respectful. Know that your participation is so important. Can't stress it enough. The more you participate, the more you get out of class. The more you get out of class, the better your grade's going to be, and the better the class is going to be. So I appreciate that. And then last but not least, Class Connect sessions are recorded and distributed for learning purposes. Hello, Michael. How are you? Welcome, my friend. Hello. Okay, so today is Tuesday, February 10th, holy capoly, craziness. We are going to finish our Unit 5 article assignment today. And again, this has been sort of a 2-day thing. It is a major TGA, so something to kind of keep in mind. So our objectives for today are not only to understand what is expected from the second article, but also to work on it and complete it and submit it today, because it's due today. So I just dropped a link in the chat box for you to open the assignment. Do remember that we are going to have a attendance check at the end of class. So make sure you stay till the end of class to get that word of the day. Once you get your assignment open, scroll down to article number 2, which is just after question 8. Remember, yesterday we did questions 1 through 8. Today we're going to do questions 9 through 17. Okay. Thank you, Zion, Nathan, MJ. Thank you, Michael, Jazzy, Emily, Colton, Adrian, Angel, Devin, Mia. Let me know. Hey, Devin. Good to see you. Thank you, Adrian. Patricia, Shayla, Yoselin, ready? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. And let's talk about half of this assignment. So here is article number 2. Okay. And notice that you're going to use article number 2 to answer questions 9 through 17. The dog picture is funny. What dog picture? I missed it. Oh, on the, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. It looks like you in the morning. That's funny. Okay. So I'm going to read article number 2, but I'm going to do that after we look at the questions. Okay. So here is question number 9. And just like you did with the first article, you're going to choose 3 words from the article number 2, and then you're going to define them in your own words. Then, just like you did before, you're going to choose an original sentence from article number 2, and then you're going to rewrite it in your own words. Okay. Remember to copy and paste the original above the one that you rewrite. Okay. Question number 11. Explain why you chose that sentence and explain how it's important to the article. Question 12, you're going to summarize that article in 2 or 3 sentences. Again, keep it short, okay? But you do need to use at least 2 sentences. Now, question 13, 14, and 15 are all multiple choice questions. So go back to question or article number 2 to help you answer these. And then questions 16 and 17 are free response questions. So question 16 says, explain how genetic variation arises through sexual reproduction and why this process is important for the survival and adaptation of species. Okay, so again, you're going to use the information from article number 2 and your own words to explain it. Question number 17. Question number 17 is also free response, and it says that Article 2 explains that genetic variation is like having a diverse toolbox. Can you think of a time when having different options or approaches have helped you or someone you know overcome a challenge? Explain how this relates to the importance of genetic variation in nature. So think about when you've had to solve a problem, okay? Having more options to solve that problem is going to be easier, right? So explain one of those ideas and then tie it to and explain how that concept is similar to the importance of genetic variation in nature. Okay, so those are the questions you're going to answer. Now let's go back to article number 2, and I'm going to read it. You can follow along. Okay. Have you ever noticed how everyone is different? Even within the same family, people have different heights, hair color, and even different personalities. This variety isn't just interesting, it's actually super important for the survival of all living things. This variety comes from something called genetic variation. Genetic variation refers to the differences in the sequences of genes between individual organisms of a species. Think of it like this. Genes are the recipes that tell our bodies how to grow and function. Genetic variation means that there's slightly different versions of these recipes leading to different traits. Genetic variation is the diversity of genetic information within a species. This variation is essential for a species' ability to adapt to changing environments and for the evolution of new traits over time. Sexual reproduction is a key driver of genetic variation as it involves the combination of genetic material from 2 parent organisms to create offspring with unique genetic combinations. So where does this variation come from? One major source is mutation. Mutation is a normal part of reproduction. When cells copy their DNA to make new cells, sometimes there's small errors, like typos in a recipe. These errors, or mutations, create new versions of genes called alleles. Most of the time, these mutations are neutral, meaning they don't have a big impact. But sometimes a mutation can create a new allele that gives an organism an advantage. While some mutations can be harmful and cause genetic disorders, others can introduce new traits that may be beneficial for survival. Another way genetic variation arises is through sexual reproduction. When organisms reproduce sexually, they combine their genetic material, mixing and matching genes from both parents. This process, called recombination, creates new combination of alleles, leading to offspring that are genetically different from their parents and from each other. Why is genetic variation so important? Well, it's like having a diverse toolbox. If everyone in the population was exactly the same, they would be vulnerable to the same threats. But with genetic variation, some individuals might have traits that allow them to survive and reproduce even when conditions change. For example, imagine a population of butterflies that are all the same color. If a new predator comes along that can easily spot that color, the entire population would be wiped out. But if there's genetic variation in color, some butterflies might be better camouflaged and more likely to survive. These survivors can pass their genes on to the next generation, increasing the frequency of the helpful trait in the population. Genetic variation is the fuel for evolution. It allows populations to adapt to changing environments and resist diseases. Without it, species would be much more vulnerable to extinction. So the next time you look around and see all the amazing diversity of life, remember that it's all thanks to genetic variation. Okay, so that's the article you're going to use to answer the remaining questions today. Okay, so with that, we're going to spend the remaining time today in class working and answering questions 9 through 17. Okay. Click on A if you don't need help. If you do need help, click on B and I can pull you into an individual table and help you answer whatever questions you have. Okay. And remember to stay till the end of class because we have an attendance and participation attendance check, right? And only if you're in class will you get that word of the day. Okay. So go ahead, click on A. Let me know that you are working and then we will, I will turn off the microphone and let you to it. And again, if you have questions, then click on B. Okay. Thank you, Adrian, Colton, Devin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. MJ, Urini, I appreciate you. Zion, Yoselin, Shayla, Nathan, Michael, Mia, Jelani, Jazzy, Ian, Angel, let me know if you need help. Okay. Yoselin, if you would check your the chat box for me, okay? Okie dokie, my friends. Hello, hello, hello. Are you there? Welcome, welcome. It is that time of day. We hopefully you had enough time to wrap up and finish up your article assignment. I am going to stop the recording at this point, and